to Hartford Hospital. I am Bimal Patel, President of Hartford Hospital, Hartford Region, Senior Vice President, Hartford Healthcare. It is such an honor to welcome you here today on the campus. What a day. Today we celebrate 50th anniversary of our transplantation program. Nearly 50 years ago, (1971), right here we performed our first successful kidney transplant by Dr. Schweitzer, who is here today supporting and celebrating with us. An interesting story, nearly 12 years ago, when I accepted the job to come here and join Hartford Hospital, appreciated the fact the reputation of our program crossed the state line, the regional lines, and had a national presence and reputation. And to celebrate that, to recognize that, last year, this program completed more than 155 transplantations right here at Hartford Hospital. Congratulations to the team. We continue to build on those successes to support our communities, our patients, and their families. This year, very recently, NRK recognized our transplant program as one of the top 5% of transplant programs in the country for quality, experience, and outcome. Could not be possible without the team that is here today, multidisciplinary in nature, that does 24/7, 365 work in making this possible. We are absolutely grateful for all the donors, both the live donors and the family members who respect the wishes of their loved ones in the difficult times and give the gift of life. They are donating the life. What a pinnacle of humanity and compassion. All of this possible because 50 years ago somebody envisioned to have this program here at Hartford, and it was nurtured throughout every decade. Over the last 17 plus years, our CEO, Jeffrey Flex, has been a staunch supporter and cheerleader for our transplant program. It is my honor to introduce our CEO, Jeff Flex.
Thank you. What a great day. This is such a great day. What an amazing moment to be here 50 years later. I can't imagine, Dr. Bob Schweitzer, what it feels like, right? To see this, to think about more than 3,800 people who've received transplants here on these grounds. If I can for a moment just ask all of our transplant patients, their families, to stand up, please raise their hands. Please be recognized today for being here. Thank you so much. The gift of life is one of the most incredible things to see. And we honor that gift of life here on this campus. We started a tradition more than a decade ago that we have a ceremony and we have a flag be raised in the honor of people who are giving that gift of life. And it's one of the most extraordinary moments to witness when you can imagine in this hospital, in that moment, somebody's life is being extended, and at that very same time, the ultimate act of generosity, of humanity is being given when somebody is making that donation. And we try to pause on this campus in that moment and recognize the importance of what is occurring. Transplantation is one of the most incredible miracles that we ever participate in. And the fact that 1971, that we had leaders with the vision, with the courage, with the bravery, with the commitment to bring that level of transplantation here to Connecticut, and then over the years, the national leadership role that we've occupied, and the number of people who have come before us and are here today to ensure that the residents of our state have access to world-class healthcare and capabilities, and the number of lives we've touched and extended is really beyond description. So in closing, I want to recognize our team. The people who work in transplant, it's a calling. It's so personal, the discretionary efforts. This occurs at all hours of the day, every day of the week, under the most unique of circumstances. And it's the support we provide, the lifelong relationship we commit and create with the patients we transplant. It's such a special thing that occurs. And I want to recognize, and if I could ask all of the members present, retired, everyone who's been part of this family, our transplant program, to please raise their hand, be recognized. The work you do is unbelievable. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This program is tremendous. It has great excellence. Its quality is at a world-class level. And I pledge on behalf of Hartford Healthcare our complete commitment to continuing to ensure in this region that we have a program of this caliber and that we continue to give the gift of life. Thank you so much. Today is a great celebration.
See my face. John McNabb asked me to say a few things about the first transplant. I'm Bob Schweitzer, and I think our successful beginning was due to two reasons. One was good preparation, and we can thank Dr. James Foster, who was the director of the transplant program, the surgical program back then. The preparation that he and his fellows and Dr. Stanley Bardis engaged in over several months was a key factor in a good start. The other thing was that I was already 9 months in training in San Francisco in transplant surgery, so I came back for a few days and helped out both the donor and the recipient. The second thing was we got off to a very good start because both the donor and the recipient were a perfect match. So we didn't have the problems of rejection, which of course back then was a big problem. Over the years, I think our primary emphasis was always on patient survival, not on graft survival. We realized, of course, that people could go back on dialysis and even get retransplanted. And I think it was a philosophy that extended on for many years, and I'm sure even into the present time. Over the years, the immunosuppression improved so that the quality of graft survival increased along the way also. Once again, I want to thank everybody for coming. It's a great celebration. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It's a privilege to be here and to be able to mention a few of the highlights for our heart transplant program over the last year. In 2020, at Hartford Hospital, we had the privilege of performing 28 heart transplants for patients within this hospital, and this is a record number of heart transplants for our institution. We're even further delighted that we were able to do this during the challenges, of course, that we faced last year with the pandemic. And this, I think, just shows the commitment that our organization has towards organ transplantation. So despite all the challenges that we faced, we wanted to make sure that our patients who need these therapies, these complex therapies like transplantation, weren't forgotten in the mix of all the other things that we were dealing with. Importantly, we also demonstrated last year that, in fact, in terms of our efficiency of providing transplants to our patients, we were unmatched in the United States. So in terms of converting a patient who was placed onto the waiting list for a transplant to an actual transplant, we actually had the best ratio in the United States. So again, that demonstrates our commitment to providing an organ for those patients that we list and feel are deserving of a transplant. And now we just are hopeful that we're going to be able to offer this to more patients and expand our reach. And our heart failure program is diligently working towards accessing patients with heart failure more avidly. There are so many patients in our communities with severe heart failure, and they need to see doctors more frequently and earlier. One of the major problems that we have is that we often see patients too late, and so we're in a phase of our groups, our doctors are getting these patients earlier, seeing them, and then allowing them to get the therapy that they need, whether it be medication or if their condition progresses to receive a transplant or other advanced therapies. So we're in a very exciting phase of our heart transplant program here, and we are very excited about the future, and thank you very much for supporting us, and thank you again to our patients and their families for trusting us. I'm going to pass you on to now my colleague, Dr. Glenn Morgan, who will talk to you about our liver transplant program. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Ayaz. My name's Glenn Morgan. I'm the surgical director of the liver transplant program here at Hartford Hospital. This has been a very emotional and special time in our history. Transplantation was in its infancy back in 1971, and we've seen many innovations and advances over those 50 years. It's at moments like these that our lives are framed and focused, like taking that perfect photograph, frozen in time, memories captured. We salute the pioneers like Dr. Schweitzer, who had the vision and the determination to see past the obvious and formidable obstacles that transplantation presented 50 years ago. We remember that transplantation is a team game. Cynics will say that medicine has become a business, that it's not personal anymore. But for the transplant team that you see here today, who come to work every day, it is personal. It's very personal. It's about grit, it's about passion, it's about the courage of our patients, and it's about the selflessness of our donors and their families. It's also about partnership. Partners with a common goal. Partners like New England Donor Services, partners like Hartford Healthcare, partners like Hartford Hospital, represented by Bimmel and Jeff, all of whom share and support our mutual vision and mission: caring, safety, excellence, integrity. We celebrate the future by honoring our legacy and the journey of those lives touched by this program, past, present, and future. We celebrate not just the obvious tangible benefits of lives reborn and of dreams realized, but that the hope and strength that we see in the eyes of our patients who receive the gift of life will be rewarded. Maybe not today, but someday. And that is personal. Thank you.
So in this moment, I know you're cold, so we really appreciate it, but what we want to do is make sure that you have a voice of our patients, and we have invited several patients who are patients of Hartford Healthcare. We have a few behind me. I have two in the audience who I'm going to ask to come speak quickly. The first is, I want to introduce him as Dr. Colby Salerno, who you may have remembered as a patient here on the 10th floor. At the time, he had a vision, he had an ambition and a dream to become a physician like the amazing team that took care of him. So Colby has seen life on both sides of the stethoscope, he likes to say.
I feel like Biden getting to take a mask off at a podium. And please don't steal the both sides of the stethoscope thing. That's a future book of mine. So I didn't know I was going to be speaking today, so I apologize. I don't have anything prepared. But while I was sitting back there listening to the physicians speak about 50 years of transplant, I couldn't help but think about what 50 years of transplant would mean to someone like me and other transplant patients who are here today. So for me, 50 years means if I was born in a different lifetime, I would not be here today to speak to you. 50 years means that a 24-year-old who was in this hospital for 6 months gets to leave and see the sun again for the first time, or feel it on his face. And 50 years of transplant means that he gets to go on to medical school, become a physician, and now starting July 1st is going to be a cardiology fellow right up the road at Bay State Medical Center. And that's all thanks to this hospital and the gift of life I was given. So it's an amazing accomplishment today. And in 4 years, I plan on being an advanced heart failure and transplant physician. And just to reiterate what the other physician behind me said, it is quite personal for me. And I can't wait for the relationships that I hope to build one day. And you never know, maybe I'll find myself back here being a part of the next 50 years of transplant history. Thank you.
We did grab him. We have speakers who we also have prepared. I would like to introduce Denise and Brian Carrington, but I also want Andrew Jones on standby as well.
Good afternoon, and happy 50th anniversary. My name is Brian Carrington, my loving wife Denise, who is also my living kidney donor. We are honored and humbled to be included in this amazing celebration and anniversary of the first kidney transplant at Hartford Hospital performed by Dr. Schweitzer 50 years ago in the inception of the Hartford Hospital Transplant Program. Our journey began in 1994. When I was diagnosed with polycystic kidney disease, which is a genetic kidney disease. My kidney function decreased over the subsequent years, and in 2002, it was time for me to meet with the Hartford Hospital Transplant team. At the same time, Denise emphatically said that she would be my match and my kidney donor. I frankly was skeptical about that, so I kind of just humored her, and that was something that I think most husbands do. Ultimately, Denise was tested, as was my cousin Greg, and Denise was my best and only kidney match, and she was right, just as most wives are apt to be. On June 14th, of this year, Denise and I will celebrate our 46th wedding anniversary. And on August 3rd, we will celebrate the 18th year of my kidney transplant. These are just two of the special milestones and moments, thousands of special milestones and moments I would not have had without all of you who are here today. Denise will agree that I talk about Hartford Transplant and tell our transplant story at least once a day to a new person that I run into, speak with on the phone, see at the gas station, strangers. Walking on the local trail, everything you can imagine. Even our license plates on our cars tell our story. My vehicle, my license plate is HERKDNY, her kidney. Denise's plate on her car is KDNY DNR for kidney donor. These, I think, are the very best ways that I can thank my wife and thank all of the amazing, loving, and caring Hartford Hospital, Hartford Healthcare, Hartford Transplant community, and continuously promote living organ donation so many others can benefit from the gift of life. Some of my original transplant team has moved on, some are still here, and some are new. But from the very first second that I walked through those doors behind me, I felt safe and extremely fortunate. No matter where you fit into these categories, you are saving lives like mine, you are making history every day. For giving me the gift of life, I thank you all. God bless you all. I love you all. And congratulations on your fantastic milestone. And once again, happy 50th anniversary. Thank you.
I most appreciated Denise's facial expressions. I couldn't resist. It is my great pleasure to introduce Representative Jeff Curry, who was a wonderful patient with us, a very vocal patient, to make sure everybody knows and understands the importance, again, of the gift of life. Representative Curry.
I have to laugh as I'm coming up here, because I'm just realizing that this is likely the first time much of the team has actually seen my face. My experience was a little bit different because in addition to needing a transplant, this all happened in the midst of the pandemic. And so first and foremost, I just need to say thank you. to Hartford Hospital and everyone within Hartford Healthcare for everything that you have done over this last year. Jeff mentioned about the work you do in extending the life. I think it goes beyond that. You've saved my life, and you've given me the opportunity to help be that voice to make it a little bit more public about what we all go through when we get this type of news. The other option was sitting around and doing nothing and wallowing away in my misery and essentially considering end of life. But instead, what started with an appointment at the end of June of last year with Dr. Salerno through telehealth, which I have to say was a fantastic experience, and that personable nature that comes with that one-on-one appointments with the doctors was clearly evident even through the computer screen. And then, working my way through all of the doctors. Dr. Roshan did an amazing job. I mean, I'm 3 months out from my transplant, and I'm able to be here today to be able to have this conversation with you. Please don't tell Dr. E I'm not wearing a coat also, if she's not out there in the crowd. But this is an emotional experience. There have been a number of ups and downs, but each and every one of you, from the moment you walk into that clinic or the moment you open your eyes after that transplant, each of you have played a very important role in my life. And not only me, but I know my family and my friends are truly appreciative of all of the work that you continue to do for not only me, but for everybody who walks through your doors. So thank you and congratulations again on your 50th anniversary.
And our last amazing speaker and patient, Andrew Jones, also a very vocal public voice, reminding people what this is all about. Andrew, thank you so much.
Hello. Wow, there's a lot more than you than I thought. But since I mentioned that, I think everybody should just take a look around and just, think about all the people that are here here today. All the people who have been touched by organ and tissue transplantation, and of course all the people who are involved, required to get someone their gift of life. I received my transplant almost coming up on 5 years now. September 21st, 2016 was the day, was the night actually I was moved into the OR to receive my heart transplant. And it's crazy how fast time goes. It's crazy to see how I never expected to be in the position I am now. Before receiving my transplant, I was very, very dedicated to my goal of working in TV and television production somewhere in Hollywood. But I'm still on the East Coast where it's still a bit chilly. And I couldn't be happier. Before my transplant, I was really, really into, well, still am into working out and spending time in the gym, and that just all went away once my heart began to deteriorate. It was about 2 years where I was just very, very sick and wanted a solution, and it wasn't until I was admitted to Hartford Hospital to await for my heart transplant. Along with waiting for my heart transplant in the hospital, I got to meet some amazing nurses, some of who are in the audience today, who have actually moved on to bigger and greater things. When I was in the ICU, I actually met Colby, who spoke not too long ago, and we developed an amazing friendship and connection. And Colby's actually one of the reasons why I was inspired to look for ways to get closer to transplant patients. And that's where I found myself going back to medical assisting school, following my transplant, of course, and finding any way I could get closer to transplant patients. It wasn't long until one of my now colleagues informed me of an opportunity to join New England Donor Services as one of their hospital relation coordinators, and that was just about 2 years ago. And here I am now speaking in front of the same very hospital that I received my heart transplant, and it is totally surreal. And I just want to thank every single person who has come out today. Again, if we look around and see all the people who are out celebrating 50 years of transplant at Hartford Hospital, think about how many people it takes to have a successful heart transplant, or a successful transplant at that, and really believe that if you woke up today, we have something to offer. Whether it's a good day or a beautiful day like this, we have something to offer because we woke up today, and we have to continue working to figure out what that is. It's a great time to be alive. I couldn't be more blessed than I am. And again, thank you. I'm typically at a loss for words when I try to thank the same people who saved my life, but thank you is such an understatement. So I'll do my best to, through my work, to deliver what I can to help save as many lives as possible, and I hope you all are doing the same. So thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy your day, enjoy your spring, and stay safe.
Thank you for joining today. What a great spirit. I want to thank all the speakers today who came up here, our patients, physicians, and all who shared their personal stories. Thank you to the team. Congratulations once again. Please stay warm today. Thank you for joining. Have a blessed day.